Ask the Joke Doctor is brought to you by Breaking Comedy's DNA, the quintessential comedy writing system that actually demystifies comedy. Check the description box below for the link to purchase Breaking Comedy's DNA and become a funnier comedy writer or comedian today. Hi, Jerry Corley here, aka The Joke Doctor, standupcomedyclinic.com with another episode of Ask the Joke Doctor. In this episode, we're going to be addressing a tweet I received from one of my followers on Twitter. I'm not going to call it X. It's ridiculous. Hey, Jerry, how do you develop patience in stand-up? How do you trust the process when you try material and it fails? I have a bad tendency to panic if a joke doesn't work, hurts my ego. People have different reasons for feeling this way, but do you have any tips? Well, we have a lot to unpack here because there are, in this video, I have basically 10 approaches to dealing with bombing or dealing with a joke failing and also rationalizing the whole process. So, the best one, by the way, by far, is at the end. So, stick around to the end. This is truly, I think, something that you can take away today that will change the way you approach bombing from here on in. My first approach is this, and before you go up on stage, absolutely do this, and you won't have any more problems with ego. First of all, before you take the stage, make sure you do a lot of drugs. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Joke. So let's get right to it. Here are the 10 ways you can change your approach so that you can overcome bombing. Number one, your show is not about you. You are there to give that audience a gift. Does that make sense? It's not about you. That's why when you're emceeing and you're giving like house messages like, hey, here are the drink specials or here are the food specials, you don't feel that pressure to be funny because the drink specials aren't supposed to be funny. And that weight is off of you because you're making sure you provide them with information. Approach your material the same way. Are you okay? Do you guys need anything? Here's something I want to share with you. That kind of attitude, worrying about them as opposed to you, because in your brain doesn't multitask. Your brain works sequentially, not simultaneously. So you can't think about them and you at the same time. Just keep the concern out there. Are you guys doing okay? And that'll alleviate a lot of that pressure. Number two, be sure your material is relatable. So many comics start with stuff that nobody cares about. So if we don't care about it, how are we going to be curious? Remember, the audience is very curious about one thing, the dramatic question. Who are you and why should I care? Or who are you and why do you behave the way you do? And does your dilemma relate to something I've gone through? That's it. That's all they're worried about. So if you share that, they're going to be on your side. If you've started with something that's not relatable, you've already dug yourself a hole that's going to be tough to dig out of. Number three, give them a reason to root for you. Share your dilemma. And if you can use benign retaliation, that's a good thing because benign retaliation, if you don't know the comedy structures, there's 13 of them. If you don't have it, get my book, Breaking Comedy's DNA. It'll have them in there, show you how to use them. Benign retaliation is a great opener because it not only gives a reason for the audience to laugh, it gives them a reason to root for you. So now they're emotionally involved. And if their emotion was rooting for a character and that character wins, guess what? They feel like they won. So you have them at multiple levels here, not just one. So benign retaliation is a key winner. Like, for example, if I got up there and said, oh, before I get started, I got to tell you, my ex who cheated on me just texted me. She's like, I have a new boyfriend now and he's much better than you. So I texted back, sorry, who dis? So it's a quick way to set up benign retaliation. The audience roots for you. They're on your side. Another one that sometimes I do is like, I was at a club last night and this lady in the front row got upset because I was talking about body piercing. And she said, let me tell you something, Mr. Funny Man. You've never gotten head until you've gotten head from a girl with a bar in her tongue. And I said, let me tell you something, Missy. I'm a man. If you need a bar in your tongue to please me, you better reevaluate your technique. It always gets a laugh. The audience loves it. It's engagement. There's benign retaliation going on. The audience roots for the comedian over the person who called out the comedian with the body piercing, and it's a win-win. Number 4, don't mumble. A lot of times when we're delivering either the setup or the punchline, we can swallow some words and or drop off the ends of our phrases. If you drop off the ends of your phrases, it's a almost an indicator at a subconscious level that you're not confident in the joke. Number 1. Number 2, if the audience doesn't understand what you said, they're still back there trying to figure out what you said while you're moving forward with the punchline. They're not going to listen to the punchline while they're trying to figure out what you said. See what I'm saying? So make sure you don't mumble. And when you listen back to your audio later on, be sure you listen to it from the point of view of you being somebody new in the audience, hearing it for the very first time. Because a lot of times we know what the joke is, so we can't tell that there's mumbling or we didn't convey the message clearly enough, right? Because we know what the joke is. So sit back, listen to it as if you're listening to it from an audience perspective and they've never heard the joke before. Number 5, hammock your jokes. That means put the tried and true, the good stuff you know about, your core material in the front, put the new shit in the middle, and then close with the tried and true. Tried and true up front, new stuff in the middle, tried and true at the end. So you start strong, you have the new stuff in the middle, and you end strong. Start strong, end strong. That's the impression you leave on stage. And it gives you a lot of confidence if you can jump back to a core joke if the new stuff isn't working. Number 6, a comedian is a mechanic. That's all we are. We're joke mechanics. If you bring your car in and to get a fix and you take it out and that fix doesn't work, so you bring it back to that mechanic, does the mechanic want to jump off a cliff? No, the mechanic is not blaming himself. He's blaming the car. So he fixes the fix and then you're back out on the road. You treat your jokes the same way. It's not about you. It's about the joke. The joke didn't work. Has nothing to do with you. So rewrite the joke, fix the joke. Don't take it so personally. Number 7, be ready with a couple of savers. Now, I got a couple of comments one time when I talked about savers on the internet by some of these guys. It's like professionals use savers. They were like, oh yeah, savers are for hacks. No, savers aren't for hacks. Savers are for pros. Bill Burr does this thing when the audience isn't laughing and there's tension. He always says,
why is it so quiet in here?
why is it so quiet in here? That's one of his savers that he uses when a bit's not getting the laugh he wants out of the bit. So savers are for pros. Have something like, what a waste of time this is. I could have gotten this type of rejection at home with my girlfriend. Or every time you guys breathe, I can feel the disappointment of my parents. Or I knew I left something at home, like a fucking punchline. Something. A saver that makes fun of the fact that the joke isn't working. Number 8, in the end, always remember that bombing is a part of the journey. Without the bombing, there's no learning. And these guys get it. They've seen this stuff. They've been to comedy clubs. They know all the jokes don't always work. So they're on your side, man. Relax. It's not that big a deal. It's just jokes. Every comedian has a terrible story about bombing, but in the end, it's not that big a deal. Number 9, you have to learn to rationalize the venue. That's right. Material, audience, performer. The material has to be right for the audience, has to be right for the performer. So if you're doing material in an open mic with a bunch of other comics who are in their phones or in their notebooks, you're not going to get the laughs you would if you had an audience who was there warmed up and focused. It's very important to remember that. Don't take it so personally if it's a room full of comics. Here's another thing to remember. Write a couple of reverses, strong reverses. If you have 3 to 4 reverses in a 5-minute set that are nice and strong, those are some of the harder jokes to write, and comedians don't do them very well. If you have those reverses, like Anthony Jeselnik style reverses, then you're going to earn the respect of that room pretty quickly. So do your work, do your due diligence, get your strong reverses in there, and trust me, that's going to earn you some respect. The other thing to remember is like if you're doing an open mic, I did an open mic for a band, like it was a country bar, and they had an open mic of bands. And the first time I went there, nobody took any time to introduce me. They were like, yeah, you can get up and do 5 minutes. We'd be happy to have a comedian. But nobody said to the audience, hey, we got something special. We got a comedian that's going to do 5 minutes while we're waiting for these bands to change up the setup, right? Nobody said anything. They just said, go up there and do it. I went up there to do it without any pre-framing or any introduction. and it fell flat because the audience wasn't ready. So all you have to do is make sure that audience is ready, right? The next time I went back, the guy was happy to introduce me, changed the entire thing. The show went well in the same venue, in the same setup, a country music open mic, but I got to do 5 minutes. It became one of my favorite places to work after that, to warm up stuff or practice stuff. So make sure the venue is suitable for the material. Number 10. Now, lastly, the one thing that will have an impact on the rest of your life, the way you look at open mics, the way you look at bombing, the way you look at hecklers, this one thing will change all of that, and that is develop a personal mantra. I want you to say out loud with me right now, I am perfect. I am perfect. I am perfect in all of my flaws. That's right. We all have flaws. They're there. The bigger your flaws, the better your comic character. So own those flaws and don't be afraid to show those flaws. Once you answer these questions, things will change. Who am I? What do I stand for? What is my mantra? And what is my life's philosophy? If you understand this about yourself, it is so important. Most people don't take the time to figure out what their brand is, what their philosophy is, how they view life. Like for me, I'm liberal. I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I like to take care of people. I was raised with the mantra of, wouldn't it be great to take care of everybody? We can't, but wouldn't it be great? So my whole life has been trying to prove that you can help take care of people. You can help people. I like to believe that the through line of life is love. That's the most powerful force in the universe. And I try to do that. I have strong opinions, don't get me wrong. I can stand up there and talk some shit and get angry or upset, but I have a strong point of view, strong emotions. But I still, in the end, care about people. So that's my mantra. I'm not afraid to say that. Be nice to everybody on the way up. You meet the same people on the way down. So I'm not afraid to say that. I own that about myself, and I own my strong perspectives on life. And also, look for the universal truth. George Carlin said the joke is always hidden in the universal truth of life. That means pull back those layers, find out what the truth is. Like, for example, when people say illegal immigration, like it's a new thing, like it's a problem now, right? We got to keep the Mexicans out or the South Americans out. And it's like, really, dude? What are you? Last time I checked, we've always had a problem with illegal immigration in this country. Just ask any Native American, right? So I'm 50% Irish, 50% Native American, so I can relate to that. So I basically, my people stole their own land. So it's like, so think about that. Where is the truth? Where does the truth lie? Find the universal truth in what you're trying to share. If you and There's something that can't be argued with, right? So find that, find the jokes in there, and I think you're onto something. Have an unwavering understanding of who you are, what your philosophy is. And mine came out years ago when I had a CD and it just said, it was me holding block letters. The cover was me holding block letters, and it said truth. And the title was Swallow This. Basically, it was my truth. Here it is. My perspective is on life, socio-political, socio-cultural. All of those things came together in that hour special. So think about that. Know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, how do you think the audience is going to perceive you? Once you own that and have that unwavering understanding of who you are, and keep in mind that it will evolve and change, but once you understand and have a strong understanding of who you are and a belief in who you are, all of a sudden your look at bombing is different because it doesn't matter so much. You'll fix the joke, you'll get back up, you'll do it again. It's not a big deal. And it's like you don't have to worry so much about external validation. And the other thing to remember is external validation is there because of our ancient prehistoric brains. We relied on this because in our tribes years ago, as humans were evolving thousands and thousands of years ago, if we couldn't feed the family, if we couldn't go out and hunting and come back with berries, food, meat, then our status in the tribe changed. They didn't have confidence in it anymore. We could be banished from the tribe or killed. So now it doesn't matter so much because, like I said, we don't live in prehistoric times. Know who you are, get up there with confidence, play it through because it doesn't matter. I hope this brought value to your day. See you later.